Yakitomy, Voice of the Web. The Levite Bible, the Mother Bible 2, the Higher Canon 2, 2012 to 2013. A piece of demonology and territorial warfare to expose, and discussion of Christianity in the layers of the original text. 1. SEPTUS and the Secret of the Paradise. The following is important in the further struggle against SEPTUS, the spirit of male domination. We distinguish between the heavenly body and the body after the fall. The earth where we live now is not the paradise earth, but the fallen earth, the lower earthly regions. Here is the body a lot different. SEPTUS kept himself busy with many differences in the anatomy of man and woman. He made it so that men are stronger than women, so the man rules over the man. This was the result of the fall, which had nothing to do with the original body of man and woman. It was the curse attached to sin. Genesis 3. 16. Unto the woman he said, I will greatly multiply thy sorrow and thy conception. In sorrow thou shalt bring forth children, and thy desire shall be to thy husband, and he shall rule over thee. Here on earth, after the fall, so in the lower earthly regions, where Satan is God, it is the world of the giants, the men of renown, boasting men who force power over women, and use them as slaves. The so-called daughters of men, another demonic race, had them in that position supported. Because man is not interested in all kinds of complicated laws of God for the use of his creation, SEPTUS made a much simpler structure, the direct brutal material strength of the muscular mechanism, so as to extinguish the Spirit of God. So the man went from a glorious, divine body, to a fallen body of death, of brute force. The man was no longer attached to the trees of paradise, the place of discipline. Genesis 2. 24. Therefore shall a man leave his father and mother, and cleave to his wife, and they shall be one flesh. In the original text, there is talk about the man will follow his wife. She was created as a help the man, which you can compare with the Holy Spirit. This was about something supernatural. Also because Adam is a people in the original text, they had a kind of guidance given by God. Of course, this was also for them a test. These guidelines should be used in the right way and conform to certain principles. The womanizer people, so you could say that the man listened to the wrong part in the people. Same with the Holy Spirit. There are also false Holy Spirits. The woman was created from the rib of man, but in the original text Sela has different meanings, not just rib. Especially if we look at the deeper word meaning and origin of the word Sela, Sarla, it is still questionable whether or not it meant literally rib. Sarla means namely the cripple, the curve, the bending. It also means go like a paralyzed, like a half cripple, who should use his good leg. A rib is slanted, but doesn't have those features. The male genitals have these properties, as paralyzed. According to the original text, the man had different genitals, and one of them was used to create the woman. In Ryan mythology, man was originally made from the male genital or male genitals in sense that the body didn't work by muscles, but by a kind of spasm, by units filled with blood, which then continues through tendons for support instead of muscles. The advantage of this body was that everything always returned to the void, and came from the void. By the fall this changed. One was slave of physical strength, having desires for a whole lot all the time. When the woman was made, Adam fell into a deep sleep, the Tardema. This was a supernatural sleep that God gave. After the fall the man got by the curse a body which would rule over the woman, while the woman compared to the man still had something of that paralysis in her, the original state. The man had paralysis only in a place where his genital is. For a man, it is important to go back to the Tardema, the holy sleep, so he comes in contact with his original body, and comes in contact with his original wife, the holy woman, as an image of the Holy Spirit. The male genitalia was thus originally not only of the man. The woman came from it. They were both built from the spongy substances therefore acquired to ensure that the man lived from the void, the contact with God. This void was filled by the Holy Spirit and not muscle. The holy woman was made so that her husband could follow, and not vice versa. But the man went to the wrong women of the people around, and was led to the serpent and the forbidden fruit, causing all the trouble to begin. The man lost his precious, refined body, and was locked in a coarse, brutal column manufactured by giants, the men of renown, the fallen sons of God, to his mind to keep locked, and linking him with demons, the daughters of men. Only in children we sometimes see that original divine paralysis back from the paradise, or in people who are very much filled with the Holy Spirit, and childlike are dedicated to God as righteous. They carry the seed of the new body which will come back, as a glorified Lord will appear. The doors of paradise will open again. This is a very esoteric happening. It will happen when the people will know about these things, when God opens the doors of gnosis. Many will not cope, and will resort to their old Bibles, translated by the Freemasonry and the Illuminati, the old world order. They will cling to the snake and SEPTUS to keep the fallen man in power. They don't want to face the basic texts, let alone the second word of the Lord, the eternal gospel, because then their fallen nature gets unmasked and dethroned. But others will go as a liberation. That day will come, and then the Jews you this day whom ye will serve. The earth was created from mayhem, which means not only water but also seed, semen. The Holy Spirit was hovering over the mayhem, the seed, and in the original text literally means fertilization or brood. Then the creative took place. Because man, both man and woman, were made from male genitals, they secreted seed from which they could create, like God, because they were made in his likeness. Also we see that there is created from the holy temple, the tardema, or the holy paralysis. Again and again it was from the void created. We may return to paradise by the holy sleep, if we will defeat the false sleep, the serpent, the fruit and SEPTUS, with their false sleep, Toronto, and their anti-sleep. Our lives will be filled with mayhem, the divine seed, and we will be tied to the Holy Spirit, so creative miracles will take place. That Sela, the male genitalia as the original feminine principle, reflects who we originally were. To that we will have to return. The tardema is given as a weapon. We may not be strong from ourselves, showing off, but we must be weak, the strength of God, to receive from the void, and always returning to the void. The tardema is our protection. In Sanskrit, the sleeping is already a certain degree of activity, namely to come, send and throw. Also, sleeping is closely related with the cross to make the discipline, and some drunkenness. In Sanskrit, the sleep is a supplication to God. Sleep and seeds are so closely related to each other as the creative power of God. In Sanskrit, the sleep is paradise, the milk-giving nipple. This audio was brought to you by Yakutami, voice of the web, ykitome.com.